Hello everyone, we are going to see about the topic that is the endometriosis. There are endometriosis, some terminologies like endometritis and endometriosis are similar to each other, but there is a difference between because this is a confusing terminologies. Endometritis is inflammation of the endometrium, while endometriosis is presence of functioning endometrium other than the normal side. So first of all, where the endometriums come, just see in this. If you see this uterus, this whatever this white part, uterus consists of three layers. Inside endometrium, middle myometrium, outside it is the perimetrium. And what is this endometrium? It is give normal response to the estrogen and progesterone. Normally, it grows up to the 28 days. If pregnancy does not occur, it shades from it normal as a menstrual cycle. But what happens if the whatever the same structure glands, if this endometrium tissues are present other than the normal side, it present other than this normal inside of the uterus anywhere, then it is called as a endometriosis. Anything other than this side. So that we are going to see. So just see over here. So what is the definition? Presence of endometrial tissue, both glands and stroma outside the uterus. This tissue is morphologically and functionally similar to endometrial tissue and responds to hormone in cyclical manner. What happens? Just see in this diagram. Here this is the normal, here this is the abnormal. What we see inside of this, the presence of endometrium. Whatever the hormones which are present, estrogen and progesterone, are give response and it normally shades from here as a menstrual. Everything is normal, but same. What is the difference? The tissue which are present over here give response to the estrogen and progesterone, same. The tissue which are present over endometrial tissue, same. The structure is same in the both the side. Function is also, this one is also give the response to the estrogen and progesterone. This also give the response to the estrogen and progesterone. But where is the problem? The problem lies over here, because this is present at the normal side, this is present at the abnormal side. That is the basic difference. And what it leads to, if the whatever the growth and if pregnancy does not occur, it shades from here because it has a root for it. But problem lies to this because it does not have any outside drainage where it goes, and it leads to the problem. That is the concept of endometriosis. So now, next, what is the reason behind it? Why this endometriosis takes place? So, according to the Sampson theory of menstrual regurgitation and implantation, that is metastasis theory. So, what it says that it is a retrograde menstruation. Retro means backside, opposite side. Retrograde menstruation. Endometrial fragments are transported to peritoneal cavity through tubes. Viable cells implant and grow. Young girls with obstructive anomalies of genital tract often develop endometriosis. So what is it? Just we are going to see. See in this diagram. What we see that this white part, normally endometrium has to shade from this side. That is menstrual cycle. But what happens if there is any blockage over here? Then it goes opposite side. But what is the problem over here? What we see this part, it is a pouch of Douglas. It has no any escape from here, and so it remains over and grows. So if you see from this diagram part of you, if you see endometrium, normally if it is present, if implantation does not occur, it goes downward. But if there is any pathology or problem to the young girl, it may be transvaginal septum or any narrowing of this part. What it leads to, endometrium is not able to shed from this side. So what it goes back side. And what is this fallopian tubes? And from here it is the pouch of Douglas, that is cul-de-sac. So there is no space for this escape. That is what we see in this diagram. It goes backside and it grows over here. That is abnormal side. For this, what we use the word endometriosis. that is presence into the outside world. So second theory, that is the coulombic metaplasia theory. Here, original coulombic membrane transforms into endometrial tissue and explains endometriosis in ectopic sites. What happens? Whatever this coulombic membrane, it automatically transfers into the endometrial tissue. That is one theory. The third theory, that is lymphatic and vascular metastasis theory. So whatever the lymphatics and the blood supply which is present in the endometrial cells, it gets which are present, that is lymphatics of the uterus, fallopian tubes, ovaries, and whatever the pelvic and vaginal lymph nodes, this spreads to the different parts of the body. So if you see from the diagram point of view, just see this uterus, fallopian tubes, ovary are having their own lymphatic system and the arteries. And what happens? Whatever this tissue, it gets spread to the different parts of the body. It may be anywhere. It may be up to the abdomen. It may be beyond the abdomen. It may go into the lungs. That is the theory. And next, that is what we can say, some genetic factors. So what is genetic factors? That is risk is 7 times more if first degree relatives has endometriosis. Means what we see that if endometriosis present in mother and maternal grandmother, so there may be some genetic factor which is responsible for this development of the endometriosis. That is the theories which are put forth. And then last one is the immunological factors. So what happened? Reduced clearance of endometrial cells due to decreased natural killer cells activity or decreased macrophage activity, and inflammation. Endometriosis may be associated with subclinical peritoneal inflammation. So what is the reason? What we can see that here, if these tissues are present here, means other than the normal here, so normally if any person's females, it gets engulfed by the natural killer cell. But if any females, if these natural killers are not doing action properly, so it is not get phagocyte properly and it remain over there and gets growth over there, that is the endometriosis. So problem with the natural killer cell, it is not destroyed or phagocytes properly. That may be the reason that is leads to the endometriosis. That is the immunological factors, that is decreased macrophage activity, and inflammation, that is endometriosis may be associated with subclinical peritoneal inflammation. Now next question arises in your mind, where it can be present. So as we know that it can be present inside of the pelvic cavity and outside of the pelvic cavity. So if you see, this is pubic symphysis, this is sacrum part, this is uterus. If it is present inside of this, that is, this is fallopian tube and ovary. If it is present inside of this, then it is the pelvic, and if it is present outside of this pelvic, then it is extrapelvic. So where it is present, if you see this uterus outside, fallopian tube, ovary, upside, lower side. So it is a pelvic one. And if you see other sides, like this is the small colon, then appendix. Here we see that the abdominal wall, umbilicus. Here we are seeing the colon part of it, red part. It may be in the pouch of Douglas, or if you see in the lower side, that is the perineum and the vulva. So these are the sites where it can be presented. For the understanding purpose, we have divided into two: pelvic endometriosis and extrapelvic endometriosis. So pelvic, that is peritoneal, ovarian, and deep infiltrating. That is if it is present over, because this genital organ itself is the pelvic. So if it is present in the ovarian region, if it is present over fallopian tubes or deep infiltrating peritoneal here, if it is present, then it is the pelvic. And anything other to this site, other than this, so it comes under the extrapelvic endometriosis. So what is it? May be gastrointestinal tract, it may be urinary tract, it may be scar endometriosis, it may be vaginal endometriosis, it may be thoracic endometriosis. Anything, it may go up to the thorax, it may go up to the vaginal endometriosis. So these are the types of endometriosis, that is where it is present. So now what are the clinical symptoms endometriosis can be present? As we know that whatever the tissue which are present in the endometrium, uterus, inside of the uterus, they are doing the function. In the same fashion, the whatever the tissues which are present outside the uterine cavity, they are also responsive to that of estrogen and progesterone. When what happens over there, uh, whatever the symptoms they are characteristically present due to cyclic representation, because we know that the endometrial tissue give response to the estrogen and progesterone, and estrogen and progesterone are itself action is on a cyclical manner. So whatever the symptoms we are going to present in the cyclical manner. So which are the symptoms? So classical triad we can think about it is a dysmenorrhea, dyspareunia and deep-seated pelvic pain. That is because when the if it is the present over here, if it is present over here, so when uterus contracts it gives the pressure that will lead to the dysmenorrhea, or during it, if it is present in the lower side, it may lose, if there is a pain stretching, it leads to dyspareunia, that is difficult in sex, and deep-seated pelvic pain, because this one uterus itself is the pelvic organ. So whatever the symptoms we are getting it into the pelvic area. If you see in this diagram, just see whatever the redness we are seeing, it is in the lower, it is pelvic area quadrants. Umbilical, lower down it is the hypogastrium. It may be present somewhere here or here. So this is the classical site of the pain. And what we say that the comments, it is the symptoms which are commonly occurs before onset of menses and continue throughout the menstrual period. Also has a cyclical nature. Why cyclical nature? Because the endometrial tissue gives a response to the estrogen and progesterone, and estrogen and progesterone acts cyclically. First 14 days estrogen is acting, next 14 days progesterone acting, and if pregnancy means implantation does not occur, so whatever the estrogen and progesterone gets withdrawal from it. That is normal menstrual cycle physiology, we know it. So that is the reason why the symptoms we are getting it cyclical nature. So deep dyspareunia due to stretching of involved tissue due to the intercourse, muscles get stretched. Then fixed retroverted uterus or involvement of uterosacral and retrovaginal septum. So whatever the uterus, normal uterus is this one, anteverted, anteflex of uterus, fundus, cervix, and if it is vagina, so due to this it may get backside. And retroversion, we know that two types of retroversion. This is mobile retroversion, and in fixed variety, once the uterus goes backside, so it is called as a fixed retroversion. And we know that the normal position of the uterus, it is anteverted and anteflex this way. So it leads to back, retro something back, retroversion of uterus, that is the symptom. And dysuria and dyschezia is extragenital endometriosis, that is the bladder which is present in front of you. If it is the problem over here, if you want to see in this diagram, fine, this diagram, just see if there is a this one present over here or here, what will it compresses this part and it leads to the problem for passing the urine, that is the dysuria can be present. So these are the symptoms related with that of endometriosis. And but obvious, if for example if it is the lower region, if it is the endometriosis present over here, so it leads to the bleeding from here, and we do not know clinically whether it is the normal menstrual is or whether it is the anything else. So clinically how the patient says that some premenstrual spotting, because this growth it is not that much big as compared to the normal endometrium. So how is the bleeding? It is in the spotting form, and it is before the premenstrual spotting. Polymenorrhea, that is the cycle gets decreased. Normally cycle it is 28 days. Here what is happened? The cycle becomes decreased 21 days. So it is a frequently the menses occurs, that is polymenorrhea. And menometrorrhagia, that is irregular cycle, that is what it gets. Then infertility that is present in majority of the women with endometriosis. What is the reason? We can just see that advanced disease, adhesion and fixity results in structural damage to the tubes and ovaries and impairs tubo-ovarian mobility. Then ovarian problem, anovulation, luteinized unruptured follicle, oocyte maturation defects, there may be some tubal problem, then altered tubal motility or ovum pickup, and the peritoneal factors, that is intraperitoneal inflammation. So what we are going to see, why there is an infertility. So what happened? Ovary is not doing its function properly. What is the problem with that ovary? So it does not produces the ovulation, that may be ovulation. If the follicles are developed, they are not ruptured properly, that is luteinizing follicles are not ruptured properly, and there is a problem with that of oocyte maturity defect. Still, if ovum is formed, the fallopian tubes, if there is a problem, they are not able to capture the fallopian tubes, and if the fallopian tubes able to capture the ovum, then what is the problem? If even sperm able to unite over there is a problem with that of tubal motility. So tubal motility and ovum pickup, that is the problem. Or if there is a problem, then additionally there is if any endometrial tissue present over here, what it leads to? It leads to some fixity, that is structural damage to the tubes or ovaries. So if ovum is not there, so definitely we are having the problem related with that of fertility, that is it leads to the infertility. Then peritoneal factors, that is intraperitoneal inflammation of this peritoneal fold. Then sperm problems. What is the phagocytosis of by macrophages, inactivation by antibodies. So what happen? If we see in this diagram, this is normal. In this normal, what happen? If ovum released, ovary is doing its function properly, ovum it is released, fallopian tubes are doing its function properly, motility is very nice. So what sperms gets united and the fertilization can take place. But what happen in this site, endometriosis site? If the sperms comes over here, if even the ovary manages to do its function, that is ovum it is released, fallopian tubes are able to capture the ovum. But what is the problem lies over here, that the macrophages which are present to destroy this endometrial tissue outside, which are present outside, they are also affecting the sperm and they damaging the sperm. And if sperm is not there, so ovum and sperm are not get united to each other, so fertilization will not take place and it leads to the infertility. So that is the basic pathophysiology which is present over here for the reason of infertility. And then endometrium, that is luteal phase defect and implantation defects, and still everything is ovum is able to manage, sperm is able to manage, but there is a problem with that of implantation. If implantation is not done properly, can lead to that of infertility. So this is the reason, pathophysiology behind it. And what are the other symptoms that we can think about? That is extrapelvic. This, other than the pelvic organ, the symptoms which are present outside to this. So what we see, that the scar endometriosis, that is cyclical pain and bleeding in at the scar, or extrapelvic endometriosis, that is cyclical rectal bleeding or hematuria. Then umbilical endometriosis in case lead to present as umbilical mass with cyclical pain, and pulmonary endometriosis, that is cyclical hemoptysis and hemothorax. So if you want to just understand it, just see, if it is the present endometrium tissues are present over here, so bleeding is going to take place from this side. If it is present in the umbilical region, so it leads to the mass, and if it is present outside above to this, that is the thorax, so that is bleeding from them. So everywhere, depending upon the site of the this endometrial tissue, the symptoms are going to vary, and these are the extraperitoneal symptoms. That is what we are going to say. So what are the symptoms? That is the bleeding from the rectal, or there may be present in the urinary, the hematuria is going to be present. If it is present in the umbilical, so it leads to the presence of some mass which is present at the umbilical region. And if it is a pulmonary endometriosis, so what is it? Leads to the hemoptysis and hemothorax. And characteristics over here, that this hemoptysis, it is cyclical. Means what patient clinically says that I am having the complaints of hemoptysis, but it's characteristic before the menses. And every time during that menstrual times, the hemoptysis takes place. It is coming after the specific time period, because the tissues are giving response to estrogen and progesterone cyclically. So that is the reason. Everywhere what we are getting, cyclical. Everywhere we are getting this cyclical presentation. Whether it is the hematuria, whether it is the cyclical rectal bleeding, whether it is the bleeding from the scar, whether it is the appearance of umbilical mass, and whether it is a hemoptysis or pneumothorax, it is a cyclical because this tissue are giving a response to estrogen and progesterone. That is most important. That signs and symptoms. So these are the symptoms: dysmenorrhea, dyspareunia, dyspareunia, that is difficulty in sex; deep-seated pelvic pain; dysuria, that is difficulty in passing the urine; dyschezia, hematuria, infertility; and sign: tenderness in the cul-de-sac, nodularity in the cul-de-sac, fixed retroverted uterus, that is uterus is tilted backward, adnexal tenderness and adnexal masses. So these are the signs and symptoms of endometriosis.